Hey everyone, it's Christine here. Welcome to my channel. I'm an intuitive spiritual coach, consultant, energy healer, and I wear so many other hats. If you're here, you are probably interested or maybe curious as to why I am going to start charging for the mini readings that I do during my tarot live streams that I usually hold every Wednesday. And I wanted to get into that and provide you some details, not because I feel like I have to, but because I really want to be transparent, honest, and simply share with you why. These are my reasons. But before we get into that, I wanted to simply give you some insight into why I even started live streams. So for those of you that have been following me for some time, you may have started or been with me when I initiated these live streams around summer of 2022. I believe it was around June. I didn't even check to see the date specifically, but I've been doing live streams since June, and they've all been by donation based, but I never turned anyone away. And for me, the main motivating reason was, oh my God, this would be a great way to connect with people. That was my first inkling. I didn't even give thought about doing it for free at all. I didn't even think about it. I was like, this looks like a really great way to get to know folks. And that was my main motivating factor, because connections, relationships, they're one of my main values, core values. And for me, I love getting to know people. I love talking with people. I love connecting, nurturing, and bridging, and helping people in general. So for me, knowing that I could connect to more folks and assist people in their own journeys, I'm like, live stream is a great way to do that. And for those of you, again, that have started with me in this live stream journey from that beginning until where we are now, you'll see that my live streams have changed quite a bit. And it wasn't something I planned from the get-go. I had no idea. I didn't know what to expect. I've never done a live stream. Again, I never anticipated even doing readings in front of the camera. And, or live streams, I should say. And I realized, okay, this is a great way, again, to continue connecting with folks and to guiding others. So I did readings, and I found, wow, I tend to just relay all the information I can get, and I was starting to really give deep readings. And I didn't realize how much it was taking out of me in terms of energy. I kept preparing, with longer sessions with meditation, because I do prepare myself for these. I engage in either intense exercise if it's not viable to go hiking. Otherwise, I am hiking for at least an hour to prepare my energy, and I do self-Reiki. And then I also take a salt bath, and I go into a long meditation and connect with my own spiritual team for connection, but also for protection, for cleansing, to prepare myself, because my life force energy was simply draining. And over time, I kept finding that out. I was experiencing that. I'm like, why do I feel so exhausted, more so than usual? And no matter how many tweaks that I was making towards efficiency, whether it was going from shuffling the decks and allowing cards to fall, to selecting cards with my eyes closed, to reducing the number of cards, to not including advice, etc., I still was feeling off. And I'm like, something is off. And I pinpointed it, and I was feeling resentful. And so I meditated on this, and I realized that this was really connecting to my value, because something that I'm also here to learn in this incarnation is about self-worth and valuing myself. And I was like, crap. This all came to my forefront, to my reality around November, December. And I was like, wow. And that was one of the decisions that led me to making this change with my live streams. And it was really hard, actually, because my first thought was, of course, fear. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my community. I didn't care. It had nothing to do with subs, but I'm like, what are people going to think? And I was working through all of this. And then I realized, you know what? I gotta stay true to who I am. I know my worth. I know my market value. I've done a lot of work on self-worth and my esteem and my valuing, my value system, and how I value myself and who I am. It took years for me. And I realized I'm just going to have to continue doing what feels right to me and honoring myself. because the folks that are meant to be on this journey with me, they will still be on this journey. And those, maybe I was part of their journey for a reason, for a season, right? And again, that's why I'm very grateful for anyone and everyone who has been a part of my journey. We all have things we learn from one another. So I want to jump into the 3 reasons again why I decided it's time to charge for these readings. First has to do with my time and energy. And I briefly mentioned this when I said something about my energy, my life force energy leaking out. No matter what you do, whether you are an accountant, a doctor, maybe you work in retail, maybe you're a cashier, maybe you're a salesperson, whatever your profession is, we all have this life force energy. And when we exert ourselves in this area, I'm not talking about physically, but we expend it, right? It leaves us feeling a certain way, right? And imagine if you're not paid for what you do. And I know many folks, especially if you have gifts that are innate to you, maybe you're a graphic artist or a designer, or even skills that you've developed and honed over the years. Maybe you're an amazing public speaker and you've had people ask you to speak, or maybe you're an amazing body work or energy healer and people have asked you, oh, can you help me with this or that? Or you have amazing knowledge on a certain area and people constantly ask you for tips or advice as if you're their coach. And it's interesting because we start to see this, and I feel like a lot of it tends to happen with inner circles. And I was realizing, wow, boundaries are needed here. And that's where I was feeling that disconnect. That's where I was feeling that resentment. And I'm like, I can't keep doing things for free. Because I'm someone that will readily do things for free to help people. Service is hugely important in my life, and that's a whole separate thing, and I'll get to that in a sec. But I realized I only have a finite amount of time. Once we use that time, we don't get it back. Yes, my energy can be renewed, but it goes hand in hand with what I'm doing. And I realized I was putting my focus on the wrong things. And I needed to rework a few things in my life because I constantly had to remind myself, because I'm someone that has to really be cognizant of boundaries because of my moon being in the 12th house. And I've done a major work in that area. And so again, going back to time and energy, for me, I realized, and this was again a work in progress, I'm like, I deserve to be compensated for the work that I do. Will everyone agree to that amount? No. Does that matter to me? I wish I could say no, but it does. I wish I could be like, no, it doesn't. I wish I could always help everyone, but I know I can't. I won't be able to. I wish I could always please everyone. I can't. And I realized I had to align to myself and really follow, and stay true to who I am and follow my own internal knowings, my intuitive nudges that I constantly tell you all during readings and that I tell anyone that I meet. You got to listen to yourself. And I realized I know my market value. I worked hard, more than 4 years on my value. Because one of my woundings here in this earth, in this incarnation, is around worth, self-worth, learning how to see myself as worthy regardless of my title, regardless of my degrees, of what my bank account says, of what I look like, whatever. And so I needed to determine that and be okay with that. And when I'm okay with that, those that value that will come. And so I'm not upset if folks don't agree with my prices, if they don't like them. That's not on me. That's more of a reflection of what others feel is value, what's worth it to them, and etc. That's things they need to work in. There are, again, plenty of readers out there that may charge less, that may do continued free readings. I know a lot of folks on YouTube don't. They tend to keep readings general or go through the zodiac signs. They don't do personal readings like I do, and I've gotten very deep. Sorry guys, those are my wiener dogs. And so I realized my time and energy, they're valuable, and I'm getting busier, and Saturn is about to go into Pisces for me, which is in the 6th house. Well, it's going into Pisces for everyone, but it's going to be targeting my 6th house of work and service. And I'm like, shit, I better get my routines and my organizations down pat. And so again, for me, this had a lot to do with my own value system and realizing I honor myself. But we have to honor ourselves before anyone else can honor and value what it is that we do. And I honor and value the work that I do. I know I'm a great reader. I know what I'm good at. I value what I'm good at. I take a lot of care and pride and I wouldn't say caution, but just love in what I do. It's really important to me. The same thing with the content I create. I'm here to help people. And a lot of readers, not just myself, we do a lot of different things that we don't charge for. A lot of the readings that I've done on my channel since March, that's on my own time. And some of them are long. And so there's content that I will continue to put out that's free. There will be readings and live streams where I will allow and do one-card readings for folks on different cycles, different lunations, and whatnot. So that was one primary aspect that I really wanted to share and be honest with you. The second one has to do with my value. And again, I already touched upon that with the time and energy. I feel like they go hand in hand, so I don't want to spend too much time on here. But again, it took me a long time to recognize my own value. I used to undercharge, undervalue a lot because I didn't feel like I was deserving of it. And for any of you that may have experienced financial instability or problems and you're wondering, you know, I'm meditating, I'm affirming, I'm doing this and that, take a look at not just your wounding and your self-beliefs, but take a look at your value system because they're inherently tied. Because remember, the second house in astrology rules money, how you earn it, but also your self-esteem, your talents, your self-worth. It's Venus ruled. And so as soon as my value, my self-worth started increasing, so did my income. And so there is a positive correlation there. And this has nothing to do with ego, with arrogance. This is simply knowing your market value for what you do. And again, I want to reiterate, even though I don't have to, I'm not motivated by money. I'm here to help people. But I also don't have a trust fund, you guys. I'm not connected or plugged in to the state lotto. I don't think Texas, yes, to the lotto system. And I don't have the billions coming in yet. Trying to keep the words, because words have energy, positive. And so for me, it's important, just like an accountant charges, you know, maybe during tax season for businesses or tax professionals charge too. Those in the healing professions, spirituality work. And again, you got to use your own discernment and your own intuition on whether or not you want to engage in those services or whatnot. We also have to charge too. And again, that's a whole nother conversation. So folks, there's a dichotomy there of people saying, you know, spiritual work, healing, and all that should not be charged or free, or it should be free. But I don't align with that. And this is part of what I'm here to do, the gifts that I have and that have been innate in me. And that's why it's important, because I value myself first and foremost. Finally, the third, I misconflated, and I repeated a lot, and I recall this, and it didn't connect to me. I didn't connect the dots, but I would say, you know, this is part of service for me. And thinking about that and reflecting, especially since this coincided with my burning out in 2022, I realized, wait a minute. I love doing YouTube. And again, this was something I never aspired to be or do, but I love the creativity. I love sharing my knowledge, my wisdom, my experiences on this spiritual earthly journey to help other people. And I realized, okay, this is my work that I'm doing. This is work. I don't get paid for it though. It's not monetized right now, but this is work to me. And I was treating it like it was service, like it was volunteer, and it's not. And I want to make that clear distinction. I already volunteer and I provide a lot of hours separate to service with other vulnerable groups, 12-step groups as a sponsor. I also mentor, especially young women and those in, we'll just say, different historically and excluded marginalized populations, LGBTQIA+, BIPOC, minority groups, HSPs and empaths. I love mentoring folks. I think it's really important. And that was something that was pivotal in my experience, having a mentor or different mentors in my life. And I still have that too. And I also love doing other work with animals and with older adults. So again, you guys, I already have my volunteer niche carved out. And so I was misconflating work that I do with volunteer, and this is not volunteer work. So I needed to recognize first that issue within itself and really get honest with myself. And so that was one of the reasons why I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't. And I also want to say, I really appreciate those that have donated during the live streams. It really means a lot, and I'm truly, truly grateful. because I'm talking to the same folks over and over that have been donating, and I'm really grateful. And again, I have no judgment with anyone. I am here to help, and I meant those words at that time during my live streams, because I want to make this as accessible as possible. But there comes a time, and I want you to reflect back too, because there may be pushback or resistance you may be feeling. Imagine if you were doing the work that you were doing, or aspiring, whatever it is that you may be training for, going to school. Imagine if someone tried to ask you to do this stuff for free constantly. That's why when I mentor young folks, it's important when people ask you to constantly do free things, to start developing your branding and let yourself maybe reach a certain limit, or maybe say you'll only do 1 or 2 free things during the year, and the rest you will have to charge, because you also have a worth, a value system. And again, this has nothing to do with greed or anything. It's recognizing our own value innately, and we're here, and money again is just energy, and that's another topic. So again, I wanted to wrap this up and keep this short, but this gives you a little bit of background for me. I'm not pressuring anyone. I don't pressure or ever reach out to folks and ask them for readings. If you want a reading, you can ask. I'm working really hard separately behind the scenes to get my website, which has been long overdue. Again, I'm focusing on priorities right now that help me get closer to expanding my business. And the website, maybe fortunately I could say, I don't want to say unfortunately, but fortunately, most of my clients, they have not come through a website, because I don't have one. I have one established, but it's not public. And I get clients other ways. And so again, I never reach out to folks. I don't pressure you. It's not the right people that truly value this work, that truly value who I am, the type of reader that I am, and what I can offer in terms of spiritual and earthly guidance back to them, will come to me and have. And I'm not here to constantly take people's money, because I don't reach out again. For me, it's all about energetic alignment. That's why I like to get to know people. That's why I like to get to talk to them. That's why I like to talk to them, so I can gauge if we are a good fit. So if you have any questions, concerns, comments, please feel free to share them with me down below. I really appreciate if you've hung in here and listened to all of this. I, again, am open, and I love hearing what you all have to say. If this is the last time that I'll see you, if some of you won't return to my live streams, I truly am grateful for you being a part of my journey. And again, like, I wish nothing but a lot of peace, a lot of just dream fulfillment, a lot of happiness and joy to you guys. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you soon in the next video. Take care.